Okay, I'm sorry. It's April Fool's. I had to do that. Penguins win over the Boston Bruins 4-1, I guess. I mean, it was really a lucky game by the Penguins. They totally did not play the best hockey of possibly the entire season tonight and looked in playoff form like the 2016 and 17 teams. They totally played awful in this one. Taylor Hall needs to come to the Penguins. This team looks terrible. They're so slow. Brandon Tanev is a goon. He did come back in this game, so I guess let's go over the lines. Guentzel, Crosby, Rust. Of course, that line is just Sidney Crosby. Guentzel and Rust are just AHL goon players that, aren't talented in any way, shape, or form, and Crosby does all the work on that line. And then you just free fall off, and you have a bunch of ECHL forwards. On defense, Dumoulin Letang, Matheson, who absolutely had a terrible game tonight. Ceci, Pettersson Marino. And then in net, DeSmith, who looked awful tonight and just got really lucky. And then Lagace in backup, who totally should have started tonight. And then, of course, injured, you have Malkin, who should definitely get traded because he would have had a better career if he would have got traded. Now, the Penguins, they played awful tonight, and they somehow got the win 4-1, which is coincidentally today's date. Aston-Reese scored. Tanev just threw the puck on net. He got lucky. Tanev is such a goon and such a dead weight on this Penguins team, and having him in the lineup is just, atrocious. It ruins the way that this team plays, and, he's better off in the AHL. Matheson scored as well. This was a lucky play again. Totally not him going end-to-end on one of the most beautiful offensive defensive goals I've ever seen in my entire life. He looked awful tonight. Patrick Hornquist is so much better on this team. That trade should have never happened. Tanev in the second period got into it with Connor Clifton. I wish Clifton would have socked Tanev in the jaw because he's such an awful player and doesn't deserve to be on this Penguins team. Now, thankfully, in the third period, not thankfully because I'm totally a Penguins fan, Marchand, what a good player. Scores, makes it a one-goal game. DeSmith looked awful tonight. Dan Vladar, man. Dan Vladar should win the Vezina. But Marchand was able to get his 14th goal. He's such a good player. He's such a good personality, too. He's a world-class athlete that I think every young hockey player can look up to, is Brad Marchand. And then after that, washed up forward who only got into the NHL because of Jack Eichel, Evan Rodrigues passes it to Zucker. It was an easy goal for Zucker. Dan Vladar couldn't do anything about it. It was just bad defense by Boston because they're missing Chara. And then Guentzel had an empty net goal. I could have made that. It's an empty net goal. Dang it. Come on. It's an empty net goal. There's no goalie in there. So the Bruins only lose this one by 1, I guess. And the Bruins are a far better team than the Penguins, who are totally not first in the East Division right now with overall points right now. My 3 stars of the night, I thought the Penguins were awful. So Vladar, Marchand, and Taylor Hall, which we'll get to in a second here. So the Penguins, just a very lucky game. They got the 2 points. I mean, that's what it is. Totally not the best game I've seen all year from the Penguins in the regular season. And they were totally not able to beat the Bruins for the first time in 10 meetings away at TD Garden, which is not an achievement that you should be happy about because you should have won those 10 other games. Now, the Penguins really need offensive depth because Jake Guentzel and Brian Rust are not cutting it. They're not good players. Jake Guentzel doesn't have 14 goals or anything. So, 15 goals. 11 of them. The Penguins have scored 11 empty net goals. That's where they get all their goals. They're just lucky. The Penguins need a guy like Taylor Hall. Now, Taylor Hall, if you don't know, is the best hockey player to ever exist. He'll warm up eventually when he gets to the Penguins. My proposal for Taylor Hall is for Samuel Poulin, Nathan Lagace, and our 2021 and 2022 first-round picks, along with Marcus Pettersson for Taylor Hall. It'll totally be worth it because he's such a good player. He won the Hart Trophy. And so far, he has 18 points in 35 games played. He'll be a big-name player at the deadline, and the Penguins should go for him because he's the best player in NHL history, and he'll look great with Evan Rodrigues. So my PFR question for the night is, why should the Penguins get Taylor Hall? They're inevitably going to get Taylor Hall. It's just a match made in heaven because Taylor Hall, greatest player in NHL history, going along with Sidney Crosby, who's an okay player, I guess you could say. My question for you is not only why do the Penguins need Taylor Hall, but who should the Penguins trade for Taylor Hall? I would be open to trading Malkin, Letang, Guentzel, Rust. I'd be trading, they're washed up players. I'd totally be able willing to trade them. So that is it for this one. The Penguins win this one somehow. Totally didn't play their best game of the season. They win this one 4-1 over the Boston Bruins, 4-1, which is also today's date. So thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.